She let herself out. Where she'd gone to, I don't know. She'd obviously got to start for the nightlife very early. So Scott, you know, I hope the sleepwalk now. I often think back to when she was in the bedroom lining up the shoes, putting them on. Sorry, not putting them on, putting them in pairs, lining them up. And I used to think, what a tidy little girl we have. But this was not the case. And as Claire grew, me and her had many battles over the way she kept her bedroom. Right up until the day she left home. Every Saturday, I would try and make her tidy her room before she went out, and she would always say, "I'll do it in a minute." Famous words. And when we weren't looking, out she would sneak and be gone, without tidying anything. So one night I thought, I'm going to get my own back here. And knowing that Claire used to roll in about 2 in the morning, the worse for drink, I crept into her room, and everything that was on the floor, and I mean there was a lot on the floor, you couldn't see the carpet. So I picked everything off the floor and put it on her bed, on the pillows, and there was literally nowhere for her to sleep. And I thought, this is going to be worth waiting to hear Claire coming in. And sure enough, about 2:30, key went in the door, and we heard Claire coming in. Flicked on the bedroom lights, and then about 10 seconds later, I heard, "Dirty knob." Favourite words Claire used to say. And then the next day, when she seen me, she said, "I suppose you think that was funny." And Claire, I did think it was funny. And I still do. As all the kids were getting older, I thought it would be nice to see one of them settling down and getting married. So one day I set off to see them, and I thought I'll start with the oldest one first. So I went to see Paul. And I said, "Paul, isn't it time you thought about settling down and getting married?" And he said, "Dad, I've got a harem of women, and in this country you're only allowed to marry one, so I don't want them to all start fighting over me, so I think it's best if I stay single." Then I went to see Kerry, and she said, "Dad, you know how opinionated I am. I never say I do or promise to obey anyone in all my life, so I might have a bit of a problem at the church, and I don't want to offend Sausage." Sausage is James, by the way, and if anybody wants to know why he's called Sausage, you'll have to ask him later. So that left me with Claire. And I said, "Claire, wouldn't you like to have a fairy tale wedding? Find your knight in shining armour, someone tall, dark, handsome, witty, intellectual." And surprise, surprise, Claire said, "Dad," she says, "I think I would like to settle down, if only I could find my Prince Charming." So one day, the quest began, and leaving no stone unturned, or no journey too long, she set off on her travels, and she took in many great towns and cities, Birmingham, Leamington, Kenilworth. Alas, this tall, dark, handsome, witty, intelligent man could not be found. So her travels took her nearer to home. Off she went to Jumping Jacks, Chicago, the Orange House, and even 2 AM in the morning, at bars, the Curry House and Swan End. And still this tall, dark, handsome man could not be found. Then one night, realising the only place she hadn't tried was Divas, off she went up to Divas. And once again, sadly, this tall, dark, handsome, witty man could not be found. But she left with Scott. And all was well. The weeks went by, the weeks turned into months, and Claire was very happy. Scott learned very quickly how to make her smile and keep her happy. And Claire realised, I have found my knight in shining armour, and that has now led to today, when I'm getting wed. And indeed, Scott is now treated as one of the family, and he's as welcome as any of the 3 children we've already got. In fact, he phoned me up the other night and he said, "Des," he says, "I'm stuck for something very, very funny to put in my wedding speech that will make everybody laugh." And I said to him, "Well, just tell everybody that Coventry City are going to win the championship next year." And he says, "They'll be laughing for hours." All I can say to Scott is now, don't do what a friend of mine did recently on his wedding night. Getting undressed for bed, he took his trousers off and threw them at his bride. And he said, "Try these on." So she did. And she burst out laughing, saying, look, they're too big for me, I look absolutely ridiculous. And he said, exactly. Now don't forget who wears the trousers. Well, she gave him back his trousers and she threw her knickers at him. And she said, put them on. And he said, I can't get into them. To which she replied, exactly. Don't think about what I'm saying tonight. So the last thing for me to say is Claire and Scott have obviously worked very, very hard organising everything for today. But your hard work has definitely paid off. I'm sure everyone here agrees that the ceremony and the vicar was absolutely fantastic. And that many people have commented on it. Thank you very much. So ladies and gentlemen, please be upstanding and raise your glasses to Claire and Scott, the bride and groom.
Claire and Scott.
Cheers. Thank you very much.